Do you think that Doug Peterson is a good fit for Jacksonville and with the young quarterback that is Trevor Lawrence?
When it comes to Doug Peterson, you are bringing a Super Bowl caliber coach into the fold. And despite the fact that Doug Peterson lost his starting quarterback in that Super Bowl year, he was still able to get great production from that backup quarterback they had in Nick Foles and lead them to a Super Bowl run. Now, going into the situation in Jacksonville is just a tough team to watch sometimes. I mean, they were 3-14 last year. They've been consistently one of the worst teams in the NFL for the last couple years, outside of maybe some decent years here and there. They just haven't been that good of a franchise. So to me, when you bring in a guy like Doug Peterson, I really don't think it's going to get any worse. To me, it has to go up because I don't see this team going like 2-15 next year and getting a number 1 or number 2 pick again. I do see Jacksonville starting to make somewhat of a turn towards some sort of relevancy. I'm not saying that they're going to go all the way to winning an AFC South division title. They're nowhere near that yet. But the one thing that will be interesting to see with Doug is that chemistry that he's going to be able to build with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor did not have that good of a year in his rookie season, turned the ball over quite frequently throughout his first year. So I think Doug's main focus with him is to try to simplify the game for Trevor a little bit, try to focus on limiting the amount of turnovers that the offense and Trevor have in each game moving forward. And, just try to build up the defense a little bit more. The defense is probably the stronger unit compared to the offense. So, you try to find some strides. You try to find some guys that you can build that defense around and just try to make the most of it. Like I said, I don't see Jacksonville, going from 3-14 to, 10-7 or 11-6 and being at the top of the AFC South. That's not going to happen. But I think a realistic expectation with Doug Peterson being the coach is I think that he could lead them to like a 6-11, at best 7-10 record. I don't really see anything more than that. If it happens to be that way, then I think they're overachieving as far as I'm concerned. But Doug Peterson is going to have his work cut out for him. This is not an easy situation to go into. I do not envy this man in any way, shape, or form. So he's got a lot of work to do. And hopefully for him and the organization's sake, they're able to make some sort of turn to relevancy once again.
Yeah, he's definitely inheriting a bag of shit. Let's just be frank.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things and moving pieces in there with one consistency. That's Trevor Lawrence. Number 1 pick from last year's draft. We all know he's one of the most successful collegiate quarterbacks and one of the best college quarterbacks, quite frankly, we've ever seen in quite some time. So when you have a piece like that, that automatically makes the job a little bit more appealable because we know that a little bit more appealing, excuse me. We know that Urban Meyer messed up and how he coached that entire team and how he coached Trevor was a wash. So basically, you are getting a blank slate of Trevor Lawrence, and he's going to have a little bit of experience of what not to do because let's be frank, everything they did last year, they got to scrap it because they got a whole new coaching staff coming in. And obviously, Trevor Lawrence is going to be in year 2. Let's just hope he doesn't make the same mistakes. Well, and by let's hope by, for me as a Colts fan and division rival, I hope he still sucks. But anyway, from a football standpoint, Doug Peterson brings that veteran know-how. He brings that experience, that Super Bowl caliber coaching staff that he's going to assemble with him. You just have to hope that what happened in Philadelphia isn't repeated, and you have to hope that it doesn't carry suit into Jacksonville. Jacksonville's had enough drama. Jacksonville's had enough nonsense and bad personnel, and now a coaching staff hiring that just fell apart over the last decade or so. Again, like Kyle had stated, outside of 1 or 2, maybe 3 years where they were somewhat relevant. So I'm just looking at this and I'm saying, I agree with Kyle. It can't get any worse. I think it's going to get significantly better only because I believe that Trevor is going to learn very well from Doug Peterson being a former quarterback himself and coming from a winning culture that is Philadelphia, especially back then when they won the Super Bowl a few years back. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully he can bring some life back to this team. They do have a couple of good, talented players on this roster. So let's just hope that none of that is wasted in Trevor's prime. But overall, I think it was a smart hire. No disrespect to Byron Leftwich, but got to go with experience in this case. They've taken too many gambles, especially last year being the gamble of Urban Meyer. So we'll just have to see what happens and see how it plays out. But definitely a good hire in my opinion.